Ryan, is there any way to move some of these people together, like our budget advisory committee and our council? Is there any way of grouping them up like that, or is that impossible?
Not that I know of.
Okay, all right, we'll leave it just as it is. All right. So Dana, you let me know when you want to start.
I think we might as well get started. If we got some more that can join us later, Ryan will probably put them in anyway.
Okay, all right.
So welcome to everybody. This first shot at a budget meeting on Zoom. We'll see, we'll probably have a few fumbles here, but we'll see how it works. So we'll turn it right over to Gary and let him start with his narrative.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our budget council meeting. I appreciate you guys all attending. We have got some people watching that's not part of the committee, and what we're going to do with you guys, nothing, not to offend you or anything, but we are going to go and black you out so we don't confuse things. We're gonna mute everybody with the exception of a few of us, and then we're going to ask if you have any questions. Just type it in at the bottom at the chat box, and we'll come to the questions after we get done. You know, if the questions come up and we can answer them while we're going, then we're going to do that. Is everybody familiar on here where the chat box is at the bottom of your screen? If not, can you raise your hand and we'll help you with that? Dawn. Okay, Dawn, right down at if you take your mouse and go down to the bottom of your screen, you'll see 27 participants. You'll see a box that says chat. You just click on the chat box and you can type in your question and it'll come up for everybody. Do you see that? Okay. All right. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Okay. So Ryan, if you want to go ahead and mute everybody with the exception of our myself, you, and Kelly and Dana at this point. Let me know when you're all set. And we're going to black out Sherry and we're going to black out Max.
Don't black out Max.
Oh, Max is on this. I'm sorry, Max. Sorry about that. I forgot you're part of the committee.
You, Max.
It's a good thing we got Kelly here. All right, so we're going to get rolling. We've got 3 new members this year, and I'd like to take a moment and introduce them to everybody. Rick McKenzie, you can see him. He's a new member to the Budget Advisory Committee. Rick and I have been working together for several years on different projects and stuff with the facilities committee. The town has actually hired Rick as our owner's representative. The reason why our last 2 facilities has come under budget is because of Rick. Rick's very experienced with budgets, and I think he's going to be a real asset to us. And Rick, I appreciate you stepping up to the plate and filling one of these positions. Looking forward to working with you. The other new member that we have is Kelly Roderick. Kelly's not new to us. She's been on this budget advisory committee for as long as I've been here. She took a couple of years off and she's back again. Kelly brings a wealth of knowledge. She's well connected in the community. She's always a pleasure to work with. And Kelly, thank you for stepping up and taking this. The third member is Justin Richard. Justin, where are you? I don't see him. There he is. Hi, Justin. Justin and I go a long way back. Justin's father, Gene Richard, and I worked together for 15 years in the police department. I took Justin on a hike up at Katahdin. We climbed Katahdin, and I just about killed the poor guy. And Justin's some of the young blood in Oakland, and he works for the military. He's part of the Weapons of Mass Destruction Unit out of Waterville. I think that's what they still call it. If not, you can correct me on it, Justin. So he's pretty specialized, and I'm going to look forward to working with you as well. So thanks for joining. We've got some, this has been a tough year for everybody. It's been a tough year for me. This pandemic has certainly put us into a tailspin. Last year, we had to do something that I never thought we'd have to do. We tore our budget all apart. My fear was we were going to have to do a tax increase for our taxpayers at a time where nobody could afford it. You know, I thought we were going to be looking at something that like the Great Depression in 2009. As it turned out, it didn't go that way because of various situations with the federal government helping out these people and the unemployment, the extra $600, people were spending money. And our revenues actually outperformed anything that we thought they were going to. So, I mean, last year, the fourth quarter of our last fiscal year, We laid people off. We stopped all spending. We did everything we could to make sure that we didn't run out of money. And then we ended up putting a lot of money in the savings account because of that. This year's a different year. You know, we've got a big budget. I've got 2 years worth of increases rolled into one. And as you can see, if you look at the summary sheet, this budget does not call for a tax increase. I'm hearing something. Is that one of you guys? So we'll get a chance to talk about these increases, and I'm sure that you're going to have a lot of questions about it. The one thing that I want to make sure that I keep reminding everybody is we're no better than the people who are working for us or with us. And our employees do an incredible job. You know, they work around the clock in some of our situations. The dedication is remarkable. And you know, they took pay decreases last year to make sure that our taxpayers didn't see a tax increase. And I really think that we're at a point in time now that we need to go and reward them and put things back to where they were. A couple of years ago, for those of you who were with me during this budget process, we experienced 11 employees leaving. 3 of them retired and 8 of them left for higher paying jobs elsewhere. The town of Oakland is notorious for low wages for our employees. These are specialized jobs and they're hard jobs. I mean, there's no young blood coming into the profession. If we get young people in, we train them. And we don't get very many young people. What we end up doing for specialized positions is we hijack people from other towns. And we're just costing everybody more money by doing that. You know, when you have a plow truck driver, I'm going to use this for an example, you know, a plow truck driver can go be a truck driver anywhere he wants to be. But for a truck driver to come to be a plow truck driver, it's a different story. They're working around the clock. They're dealing with blinding snow at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're trying to avoid telephone poles and mailboxes. They're fatigued. Sometimes they'll work 16, 20 hours without any sleep. Nobody wants to do that. And we can't hire these people to work for us for $15 or $16 and expect that type of performance out of somebody. We have finally got these positions with them, so they're up around $19 an hour. That's not breaking the bank. I mean, $19 an hour for somebody out there in the middle of the night plowing snow in the freezing cold, laying on their back in the snowbank, trying to go and change a hydraulic hose on the backs of one of these trucks. I mean, it's a pretty special person who wants to do that. Our transfer station, another situation. You know, I mean, we've got, it was pathetic what we're paying these guys. I mean, they're up there working Saturdays and Sundays every weekend, all weather. If it's 10 below zero, they're out there working. If it's 100 degrees, they're out there working. It takes a special sort of soul to want to do that kind of job. And I really appreciate these people. These are critical jobs in these communities. And I think it's imperative that we take care of our employees. It costs more money to hire a young person or a new person to come in than it does to replace somebody. You have to train them. I'm sorry, that didn't come out too well. You have to train them. It costs more money to train them. So we need to pay our people so they don't leave. So you're going to see some of that in this budget. And having said that, Ryan, we got a chat already coming in. I don't know what that is. From Nate Bernier. Click view button to the top of the screen, hit gallery to see everybody at once. I can do that. I can see everybody. So having said that, we're going to move right into a PowerPoint presentation, and we'll get a chance to go through these increases that I'm proposing. So Ryan, if you want to go ahead and throw that up there. Everybody can hear me, I take it, correct? Can you hear me, Ryan?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, is this where we're going? Okay, so the increases this year for employee compensation is $166,788, and how that's broken down is we got $59,931 to a 3% COLA. And let me talk about the 3% COLA because I know there's a lot of people out there that really have a problem with this. We have a police department, we have a union, and during our negotiation process, we negotiated a 2, 2, and 3. This 3% COLA for them takes place this year. By us giving all of the town employees a 3% COLA, it brings them up to market wages. So I built that in for all the salaries. $13,000 of that 59,000 is actually due to the police union contract, which is a contracted amount. That's not negotiable. We can't change that. $58,000 is due to a salary adjustments. We've got several salary adjustments. $19,921 are due to a 1% increase to the town's retirement contribution. Currently, the town's paying 6.5%, which is below what everybody's paying. I'm proposing that we bring it up to 7.5%. The employees required to pay 1.5%. They can pay up to 6%. The town's contribution would be 7.5%. $5,451 of this amount is actually due to the police contract. $29,000 is due to adding $1,000 to our employee HRA account. 6,000 of that is actually due to the police union contract. So let's talk about what the HRA is. Currently, we're paying about $1,500 to the HRA per employee. I'm proposing that we bring that up to $2,500. Okay, Ryan. Our workers' compensation this year is actually decreased by $13,100. We had one bad accident back a few years ago. We're finally beyond that. We're starting to see a reduction in our workers' comp. We've got a $37,000 increase due to adding a position for the assessing in the front office. We're adding another full-time position up there. I don't know if you remember, but either last year or the year before, it might have been last year, I believe, we're sitting here at the budget meeting and we pulled a full-time position. And if you look at your budget sheets, you'll see a 37 or whatever amount there for that position. We pulled it out because I had to figure out whether or not we needed to have two people up in that position. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm convinced that we need to have at least a half position up there. The other position, we're planning on pulling that down into the town office. I want to change my town office staffing on the front desk to a 6 and 3, 4 and 3 schedule, 4 10-hour shifts. What we have at the town office is we have a time frame where we're open from 8:30 in the morning until 4:30 at night. Anybody that's got a job can't utilize the town office unless they get out of work. We should be opening at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we should be closing at 5 o'clock at night. And that way we can catch people on the way to work or some variant of that, but we need to have some consistency. The other thing that this does for us by moving our employees to a 4 10-hour schedule is it's employee retention and attraction. Younger people, as they come in, they need more flexibility in their schedules, and we're finding that out. I mean, we've got one lady working for us who has a couple of small children. So this allows us to build that in. So it's not only is it a benefit to the taxpayers of Oakland for us to look at this, but it's a benefit to the town employees to attract new people in. This is a movement. Police departments have been doing this now for a number of years. Our police officers work 4 days on and 3 days off, and they'd never have it any other way. And you're seeing that a lot of places across the country are starting to adopt this, and I think that we have to be proactive. This is actually something that I'd like to look at on a town-wide basis for all of our town employees, because I think it's going to just make a better quality job workplace for them. $11,520 increase is due to the adding the position of 16 hours up at the transfer station. Now, we had one of our employees up there a few years ago slip on the ice, and we ended up losing him. And we couldn't hire a full-time position for somebody to come in. Part of the problem was we're only paying $13 or $14 an hour for somebody to work in that job. So what we did is we managed to find somebody to come in for 24 hours a week, and we've kept it that way. Well, this year, due to COVID, we've been experiencing huge numbers of municipal solid waste coming into the transfer station. People have been doing a lot of home construction. They've been dealing with a lot of demolition debris. All that stuff has been going across the scales. It's been nuts up there. These guys have been working their butts off to try to keep up with everything. It's been so bad this year that our full-time staff at the transfer station has not been able to take a vacation in the summer months or in the fall. This is the best time of year. So I'm proposing that we add that 16 hours back into the transfer station so that we can get our people who are working up there to the opportunity to take vacations in the summertime, not in the middle of the winter. There's not a big cost on that. Okay, Ryan, you can hit the next one. We're proposing $100,000 for a paving increase to the public works budget. Now, if you remember right, last year's budget, we put $75,000 in that budget for paving, but due to COVID, I pulled it back out. So we're replacing that. I'm proposing that we do another $25,000 towards some of our sidewalks on Water Street because the sidewalks have been falling apart. So we're looking for that increase. Last year we put in $48,000, I think it was, for streetlights so we can purchase a contract from CMP. Well, we've done that. We've paid that off. Now it's time to start putting money in the pot so we can go and buy these old lights out and start putting LEDs in. So I'm proposing that we add $50,000 to that. And I'm going to talk about that for just a second. Back when this was a hot thing, where all these towns were stepping up and paying hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for these LED lights, we kind of stood back a little bit. You know, I didn't want to jump into that because it's like everything else, things come down in price after time. Well, just recently we discovered that we can buy LED light bulbs for these street lights. And talking with one of our electricians, I've actually got one of these light bulbs on my desk in my office that, you know, when you go from a 400 watt light down to an 80 watt LED bulb, the savings is still the same. Well, these bulbs are about $60 a piece. So instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, if we decided to go and swap out the 282 streetlights that we have, the $50,000 would cover that because 282 lights times $60 is $16,800, and then you put the labor into it. That's one option. The other option is we found out that you can just buy the heads of these lights with the LED lights in them. Those are about $120 a piece, and that's a plug and play deal where you just pull the other one, pull a couple of wires out, and you plug the new one back in. That's going to run a little bit more, but that's fused up. So, and plus it uses a little less electricity than the 80 watt bulbs. So that's something that you're going to hear more about as time goes on here. I've got a $5,000 increase to the transfer station budget for engineering services. I got a $5,000 increase to the police budget for equipment replacement. Now these are two budget items that we had in the budget last year that we pulled it. $4,000 increase to IT line due to increases. This is a contract deal. They called us up and said, guess what? We're increasing the fees for the police department and the fire department by $4,000 for IT services. We have IMC, which is a computer. It's all, it's specialized. We have to keep them. They kind of got us where they want us. A $6,300 increase to employee vehicle use reimbursement, town manager in the finance department. $1,500 increase to administration department for faster internet services. That's been a problem for us. There's a reason why I'm not over the town office doing a Zoom meeting today, because I don't have enough speed on my internet to go and handle this. I'm home. I have a faster internet service here. We shouldn't be like that. We're a town office, we're a municipal government. We should at least have an internet. If we can afford to have an internet service, it's a little faster than dial-up. And unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with. Ryan, go ahead with the next one. Okay. So from this point forward, Kelly, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You guys are going to have to do something about your mics, but you're getting a lot of reverb back and forth. So Kelly is going to take this from this point forward, and you go ahead, and if you want to kind of go through the budget book just to share with people what they're looking at, and then take it over and do the budget summary.
All right. Can everybody hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Now we got some reverb again.
Okay. So your
It's
budget.
not
book-
okay. You're still getting it. Somebody's got their mic on over there. You're gonna have to shut them both off, except for yours.
Yeah, I think they're both muted.
Then I would recommend somebody go off in the other room in the fire station.
Okay. Ryan's gonna go in the other room. All right, so you have your handy dandy budget books in front of you. So I'm gonna just kind of go over what's in the budget book to start. So on this first page, left-hand side, you have your budget calendar, then Gary's transmittal, then the budget summary sheet, which this budget summary sheet all ties into the budget, the individual budget sheets. Then we have the expenditures, which is broken down by department, which again reflect the individual budget sheets on further down into the budget. The estimated revenues. So the estimated revenues, we're just kind of guessing here on what these are going to be. A lot of them depend on the public. You know, the excise tax, we did increase that a little bit. The governor really hurt us last year by telling people due to COVID, they didn't have to register their vehicles. We weren't sure we were going to make our mark on our budget from last year, but we ended up receiving all the revenue that we had budgeted and actually a little bit more.
Hey,
The
Kelly, I'm
book
just gonna,
set-
I'm just gonna interrupt for a second. They're a little bit more than a guess. These are estimates and it's based on history and based on what we see for revenue increases this current year. So just to clarify that just a little bit. Go ahead, Kelly.
The interest penalties, though, that is a number that right this year we get to charge 9% interest on late property tax on real estate. And that interest we get to keep. I know for next year, the state has lowered that interest rate to 6%. So we will be losing 3% of that. The town clerk, that's like marriage licenses and stuff that Jan deals with on a daily basis. Dog licenses, we lowered that this year because we haven't met our budget over the last couple of years of that $9,500. This transfer station stickers, plumbing permits stayed the same. Letter of intent, we lowered. Commercial hauling fees stayed the same. State revenue sharing. So that's one that we lowered last year due to COVID. And we've been told we're at, what is it, 3.5%, Gary?
Yeah. Can we go, Ryan, can we get to the revenue sheet on this? Take it to the next couple of sheets here. She's talking about.
Oh, there we go.
revenues. Okay, good.
So under intergovernmental revenue, halfway down. So we budgeted for state revenue sharing. So this year we budgeted $450,000. We've already received 321. So we're definitely gonna meet that goal. So we bumped that up to 500,000 for next year. And right now, there's some talk in Augusta about lowering that percentage. She's has to make up some money somewhere and they're thinking we may take it from there, but currently it's at 3.5%.
3.75.
3.75, sorry. Thank you, Gary. Tree growth stayed the same. The local road assistance program, we lowered that last year due to COVID. And then we received $40,000. So we received well over what we thought we were going to receive. So we put that back up to 45,000 for next year. The others have stayed the same. Vehicle registration fees, that's for each registration, we get to keep $25.
$5.
$5 of the registration. So if people don't register their vehicles online and they do it right at the town office, then we get to keep that $5. So that's what makes up that money. Memorial Hall rentals, we increased that again. That's Studio One dancers, they rent that. So that's what that is. They were shut down last spring due to COVID. And I think he is having classes, not as many, but he is back in business and they are having dance lessons there this year. So
Are we on the second page of those revenues? Are
no,
you still
yeah,
on the first? Okay.
still in the first. Transfer station revenues, that increased a lot last year due to all the volume that they're seeing. So we did increase that. Our investment income has decreased substantially. Our interest rates at the banks went from like 1.35 to I think we're at 0.25% right now. So we're not getting the interest that we were seeing before COVID, which is unfortunate. Cable TV, miscellaneous, JP Morgan rebate. So we're on page 2, Ryan, of this. So we added a new line, the third line down. So we implemented a JP Morgan purchasing card program starting July 1st. And we will get a percentage back of our spend. Right now, it's looking like we'll probably be about $10,000. Could be, could be more, could be less. But we're also seeing a lot of soft savings due to not having to process checks and postage and check stock and envelopes. And we've cut down probably, I don't know, we were running probably 80, 90 checks a week, some weeks, and now we're like under 20. So all our utilities, our gas, our diesel, our heating fuel, all of that's going on a purchasing card now. So we're seeing, and that can grow. The more we spend on it, the more rebate we'll get back.
And, and Kelly is responsible for this. This is something that, I don't know if you remember her talking about it when she was on your committee, but she implemented this up at Colby College and got a lot of interest. So she brought this to the table here. So this is certainly something that she's responsible for. So thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome. And it brings a lot of efficiencies too. And so that's about it on revenues. We are requesting to take 300,000 from the fund equity. And
Let's go back to the summary sheet. We kind of skipped over that and didn't talk about that. Ryan, take us back to the budget summary, please.
okay.
One more. There you go. Let's take a look at that and take it right from the top.
Okay, so this is a 2-year comparison, so you'll see what's currently budgeted and what is proposed budgets. So you'll see the revenues on that second line down. Then you get your net expense, and then the fund balance and the capital improvement. That's what we're asking to use from our reserve to lower our budget. So the amount of taxation, and then so pretty much we're looking at a property tax decrease of $8,400.
That's a decrease.
I mean, a decrease, sorry. Yeah, so.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of go over that a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
If you remember last year, I kind of gave everybody a tutorial as to why we use the fund balance transfer line number 4, line number 5, our capital improvement reserve. There's actually a formula that we use to do that. The council several years ago, or 3 years ago, I guess it was, voted in a 10% fund balance requirement. So in other words, we needed to keep 10% of our total expenditures in the savings account at all times. So due to the fact that we put so much money into our savings account last year, we were able to take more of that. You got to remember, these fund balances are taxpayers' dollars, and it makes no sense to any of us to go and inflate that amount because I mean, these are taxes. So what we do is we've put together a plan so that we can take the money out of that and put it back into the taxes to help lower budgets. I want to bring your attention down to line number 8, new valuation tax revenue. Back just 3 years ago, that number was running in the 60s, 65,000, 64,000. We've had some pretty phenomenal numbers here over the last 3 years, and that's a direct relationship to the amount of growth that's actually happened in the town of Oakland. Now, that $265,000 has nothing to do with taxes this year. That's all overlay from last year. That's the excess money that we had that we put it into this year's budget. We've got another $8 to $10 million worth of tax growth that we're not using, and there's a reason for that. The substation on CMP substation on Rice's Rips Road has been demolished, so we're going to lose some money on that. So we're building in another safety net. The one thing that I've really tried to bring to the table here is to stop these highs and lows, you know, to kind of flatten the curve like on COVID. We've had 4 straight years of 16.4 mils. Dana asked me this morning or today if any other towns have done that, and I can say confidently that has not been the case for any of the towns that you're seeing on our mill rate comparison sheet. So I think that the way we're doing it is actually quite smart because the thing is, say this year we decided to drop the mill rate if we were lucky enough to get it to that point, and it went down to 16 mils, and then the next year we had to bring it back up. Well, we're going to be hero right now, but next year we're going to be a heel. Whereas if we can keep that mill rate flat, then people are satisfied. So number 9, property tax increase or decrease. We got a big budget. We got 2 years that are rolled into 1 year here, and you know, that's showing a decrease of $8,455. That's not a lot, and I'm the first one to admit that. And I'd like to think that we're going to be able to stay at 16.4 mils this year, but I'm not completely convinced that's going to be the case. But only time's going to tell. We don't know what the school department's going to be doing. Kennebec Sheriff's Office or Kennebec County, they really hit us hard last year. I don't think they're going to hit us that hard this year. I think that big bump is pretty much over with, but okay. I'm sorry, Kelly. Thanks for letting me kind of jump in. Again, if you have any questions on this budget, the way it is, put it in the chat box and we'll get to it. The other thing is we can answer them through email, and I'll make sure that everybody gets the response that I get asked for questions.
Yeah, and I think we'll reflect back to this page a lot throughout the budget process as we make adjustments. Throughout the meetings, we'll be updating this, and this number will fluctuate either hopefully down.
Yeah, that's right. So all your third-party requests are in there at full ask. I mean,
Right.
every year we
So
tend to go and drop
We'll
them up a
usually,
little
we'll
bit.
be sending this sheet out probably every meeting with updates. Because this is a good sheet to see.
Right.
So, all right, I'm not gonna go over the expenditures, but the expenditure sheet within this section is just a reflection of the summary sheet of the individual departments, which we'll go through.
So I think we can jump right to the admin budget then. We can go through this. Let's go through the PowerPoint and see where we are here. Keep her on going, Ryan. Expenditures. Okay, expenditures. This is just like Kelly said, this is a summary of what we're going to see. And so you can refer back to that at a 1-page shot. Go ahead, Ryan. What's the next one? Okay, Kelly, so this is going to be on page number 1 in your budget books. And Kelly, you take it right, go for it. She's going to read, Dana, I'm going to ask you a question. Is it okay if she reads from the narrative like we've done in the past?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm pretty much not gonna hit on things that weren't reflected as an increase. So, so with personnel services, again, Gary, we're asking for a 3% COLA across the board. Except for the town manager, that is a contractual calendar year appointment. And we had to add in $2,500 that would take effect for next January. But other than that, every other position has a 3%. The new office assistant is in there that we're also requesting that will split with assessing. We did increase overtime by $1,000 just to fill in a clerical position here and there. The annual report, we asked for $100 increase due to printing costs. No change in preservation of records, decrease in advertising. I think with the use of social media and the website now that we don't have to put ads in the paper as much. So that our advertising costs have decreased. Election expenses. So I had a nice conversation with Jan. We decided to decrease that a little bit. The only, the governor primaries are in 2021, but there is some carryover that we will be asking the council to move forward at June 30th to use for next year's budget. So we're asking 15,000, and I think we have like 8. We might have like 6 after the June budget, but so that'll happen in June.
Kelly,
Yes,
so we have a chat from Kelly asking if we use job search sites like Indeed.
No, we don't, Kelly. We haven't had to. We've been able to fill every job just on social media so far. But that's obviously an option.
yeah, that is an option. But I think there is a cost to that too, so. Dues and meetings decreased, insurance decreased, no change in the audit, no change in any supplies or equipment. Building expenses, throughout the whole budget, every department, the gas and diesel and the heating oil, we go out to bid with the RSU 18. They don't get those numbers back until I think end of February, maybe. So I just added 10 cents to what we're paying now, but those may fluctuate a little bit.
They probably are.
Yeah. The telephone, that's where we pay for our internet. We did increase that $1,500. We are one step above Adelphia dial-up right now at the town office. So this is a dire need. And electricity, this will be our first full year with our solar credits, so there is a decrease there. Sewer, no change, and we decreased maintenance repair by 300, so. Any questions on the admin budget?
We got 2 questions in the chat box.
There is a cost, yeah. Yeah,
There is a cost.
yeah, we'll have
Okay.
to keep that in mind when we're filling our position.
The beauty of social media is when we put a job out there, this thing gets shared, I don't know how many times, and it reaches thousands of people. So we have literally replaced every town employee through social media. So it's quite an amazing tool for us. And Ryan oversees that whole project. So any questions on the admin budget? Seeing none. Okay, general assistance, and general assistance is on page 6 and 7.
7.
So
So the
General
general assistance, are you doing that or am I doing that?
no, go ahead, go right through it. You're on a roll.
Okay, so we budget $14,000 for general assistance. This helps the citizens of Oakland's when they are in dire need. We are reimbursed by the state 70% of that, so that hasn't, we've just kept that the same for the last few years, that same budget, so.
And that's a security net. And, you look at this budget and think, well, we can go and cut that in half, but I don't want to do that because we don't know what we've got coming down the road. Jan and I have talked about that a couple of times, and I think we're safe just keeping it where it is. Okay, insurance.
I think because Kelly had a question, why with COVID has it been so low? I think because there's so much help out there. There's the rent relief program. There's, the food, the boxes of food that are being given away. I think people I think Jan has not seen a lot of asks like she has had in the past. And I just think that's due to all the help that's out there now, right now. The insurance, 14,410 for property casualty and workers' comp. $2,500 we put in a reserve for unemployment compensation costs. We are self-insured unemployment comp. The debt service, in October, I approached Gary on a refinancing the police station. We were at 3.10% with Skowhegan Savings Bank, and rates were so low, we said, why not? And so we went out to bid. We asked, I think 3 different banks. Skowhegan actually came in the lowest. So that's been refinanced. Well, it was just a rate adjustment. We didn't even really have to go through the refinance process. But now we're currently at 2.39, which saves about $3,000 a year on that. So that's good.
I think it's more than that. You're looking at about $7,000 from what I'm looking at for numbers.
Is it? Maybe that's just on interest.
Yep.
I think that's just interest that I had in there. I'll correct that. The fire station, that is what it is. We're in year 3. Next year will be year 3. So we'll have principal and interest payments on that. The contingency, this is just kind of a emergency account that we use for employee drug tests and just general unanticipated costs that come up. Our employee separation costs currently has a balance of $84,881. We had a couple retirements last year that brought that balance down, and we had one that left. Right now, our liability is $92,000 with our current employees. They're paid out 1/3 of their sick time when they depart. So we don't have to really add anything to that this year because hopefully there's not a mass exit of all those employees. The Oakland 150th anniversary has a current balance of $4,453. And Oakland Food Bank, we always give them $5,000. Any questions? Seeing none.
Something down in the chat box.
No, I think I answered that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna move into Ginny, our assessor, the town's assessor. Ginny, you still on there? Can you unmute her? Page 4 and 5. Ginny.
Hello,
There
Hi,
she is.
Ginny. How are
Hi.
you?
good. How's everybody?
Okay, you're up there, kid.
Okay, well, I probably won't take too long because my budget is pretty boring except for the split time person that has been added to my budget. Car allowance is no change. Fringe benefits, the increases from the half position. Computer services, that's for our Trio maintenance. And they seem to have a little bit of an increase every year. So that's what that's due to. Printing and advertising, there's been no change. Really don't do all that much of that. As people said, it's easy to do it over email and that kind of thing now. So tax bills, I was assured that there would be no change with that, but then the postage went up. So there might be a little bit of an increase on that, but I have another postage account which doesn't get used that much. So hopefully that will equalize itself out. Telephone and training, no change. Dues and periodicals, no change. Deeds and transfers. We have an option of printing directly from their website. But it appears to me that that would be a little bit more expensive. And so we end up getting the deeds on a diskette, which I can keep in the office, which is always nice. The tax maintenance is no change, and aerial photos, we are able to roll that money over until such time as they do another aerial photography. And that's usually every 5, what does that say? It's every 5 years.
Yeah.
And then maintenance of equipment, no change. Computer equipment, we didn't need any new computers this year, so that's wonderful. And office supplies, it's nice being able to call and order something when we run low. And Josh was at the office today hooking the copier in my office up so that Dave and I can connect to it and run documents now from our computers upstairs. So we don't have to run downstairs all the time and use that one. That's a nice thing to have. And office supplies and postage, no change. So
Jenny, can you share a little bit about the GIS mapping project that you've been working on? the
sure.
group?
Yeah, that's still in the works. We're almost at the point where we can launch it online. All of the cards have been scanned. The ones that I have worked on so far since the original scanning, those are in a pile and ready to be rescanned again to replace the old
Can you tell
images.
them what it is? I don't think some of these people know what it is.
Oh, okay, sure. It's a program that starts with assessing and the assessor's cards and our maps. And different departments can use those maps to make overlays on top of the images from my office. Boyd is using it for the sewer. Dave uses it all the time so that he can measure distances and see where different things are as far as maybe shoreline zone or things like that. AJ is using it for the cemetery to plot each lot and who belongs there. I mean, it's multiple things. So if you go on the site, you can either go by address or name and zoom into that particular lot. You can click on it and the property record card will come up. It'll show the sketch, it'll show the photo, it'll show everything about the dwelling and everything you want to know. It's like being in my office. So you can, we can communicate by putting notes on a lot. Say Boyd wants to tell me that this particular house is now hooked up to sewer. Yay, I can update the card. So it's just valuable as far as having multi-departments being able to use it.
Yep. And how you can access it, it's actually going to the town's webpage. And it's not fully up and operational yet, but we're working on it. But you're going to, like Jenny said, you're going to be able to go up there and click on the map and click on your property. And we're hope to get it so that we can actually, you can see your property and you know what the taxes are. If you're looking to buy a piece of property in Oakland, that's available as well. Thank you, Jenny. Any
Yes,
questions for this department?
There were a few questions in chat.
Okay.
We can go through them in order.
Okay. Right
So the
from
first
top.
one was from Donna Hashi Doucette. Do you buy computers every year to keep them dated, or should we, so we aren't buying many at one time? And how do you do
Yeah,
that?
yeah, and I'll answer that, Donna. Yes, we do. We have a schedule. So when the computers need to be replaced, they get replaced. We utilize, uh, we've got an IT company that we use from Oakland, and he keeps the schedule for us, and he keeps things in rotation. Actually, we've just upgraded a pile of them, and I think this year we're getting a break from it. So it was a big cost last year. Angela Jurdak. Yep. I'd be open to emailing of tax bills. That's something we can discuss with Jan and see where it wants to go.
And then Bob Nutting asked why fringe benefits more than double by adding a part-time person. I know Kelly answered it.
Yeah, so we budget a family health insurance, which is the highest cost. It's like $19,000 for a family. Then, you know, the 6 month, usually they're on a 6-month probationary period. Then we do 6 months of retirement in there as well. So it's just, that could change depending on who we hire. You know, we could hire a single person where, you know, it's only $9,000 a year instead of 19. So,
we budget big and hope for less.
yeah.
And the other thing is we don't have much for benefits for our part-timers. So when we go full-time, you get the benefits.
Yeah.
Anything else on that? One new message.
It's easier to budget the fringe benefits from out of one account than splitting it, just because of payroll purposes and bill payments, and it's just, it
Little more
can be
clear.
done, it can be split, but I would rather have the salary split and the fringe out of one account. Makes my life easier. I'm being selfish.
And that's the way we've always done it anyways for these split positions. Okay, anything else? If not, we're moving on to the Parks and Recreation Department. Jenny, thank you very much. Nice job.
Thank you.
And Eric is up, and our Parks and Rec Department is on page 32 and 33 in your budget books. Is Eric unmuted?
And we have an updated sheet on that one, Gary. I don't know if everybody has it.
New, that came out today.
Okay, we'll address it. I think they all have it on email. They may not have been updated the budget books, and I think it's been updated here. We need page 32. Keep going, Ryan.
That's it.
Recreation. Have we got Eric online?
Hey guys.
Hey, Eric. How are you?
Hello. Hi Gary.
We can hear
Am I
you.
here?
You're here.
All right, buddy. So as you look at the recreation budget, you'll see what's typical. Most of the raises occur in the personal services. One point I wanted to make everyone aware of when they look at this right off the top is Ryan's position, fringe benefits, had been in the admin budget, and now they've been moved over to the Parks and Rec. So that's better than $30,000 for the overall increase rate there. You couple that with my raise and Ryan's raise, half of his wages show up in the parks, half the wages still stay with admin because it is split with the social media stuff and the recreation stuff. So that's really the difference for the Parks and Rec budget this year, especially if you look at the other items down through the list, you'll see a lot of no change, no change, no change. One change we had slightly for the first time in 10 years, portable toilets went up just a little bit, couple $100. It's the first time AAA toilets have moved up on us since 2010. So I didn't feel that was bad. Insurance actually went down a little bit. Supplies I kept the same. We don't do a lot of with postage anymore, just like some of the other department heads will mention, a lot of it we do with our computers, and that's where Ryan really comes in. So a lot of our correspondences have now taken place over the internet and social media platforms, like Gary was talking about earlier as well. I kept most of the program costs the same. I'm certainly hoping we can get back to some sort of normalcy in our department with some of these youth sports programs. One change we did make to the budget, Dana just mentioned, I believe you got it via email form today, was the Snow Pond Senior Center. We added $1,000 back into that. We when times got going tough last spring and when everything was frozen and stuff like that, some of that went by the wayside, but I pretty adamant I want this $1,000 to go through for the senior center. I want them to have another chance to make this thing work in a normal year. I don't think, and I think we would all agree, a COVID year for any sort of programming is not a good example and not a good, really, an example on how that can go. So want to support the senior center the best we can. We were doing quite a bit of that in the spring as it was before COVID. Ryan and I were going up and doing some programming for them, and they reciprocated. They had Gary and Ryan and I up many times for other things. Sometimes it was a little luncheon or whatever. So it was going well. It just didn't have enough chance to get the momentum it needed. And I want to make sure that we keep that going and help them be successful. That's basically the difference in my budget from this year to last year or previous years in general.
Any questions for Eric? While we're waiting, if nobody has any questions, I just want to make a couple of comments here. Eric and Ryan, they were in a hard spot this spring because due to the perceived or the estimated revenue shortfalls, we made some hard decisions, and I furloughed a bunch of employees. Eric and Ryan were two of those employees that were going to furlough, and it wasn't because of the lack of value that they brought to the town government. It's because of the fact that the departments weren't going to be able to function. So they had a choice. They could have furloughed and stayed home and collected a paycheck, or go to work for RSU 18 cutting grass. And it takes quite a man to step up and lower themselves to do that. And that's the wrong way of saying it, but from going from the positions that they had out there running lawnmowers for a different organization. And I've got a lot of gratitude for those two. They also developed, when they came back to work, they developed programs to help those in need. I'm sure that you saw on the social media programs,
Yeah.
the Oakland Cares program. And, they helped a lot of people who the COVID scared, a lot of older people. They were basically feeding these people. They were picking up groceries and delivering them to the houses. And so they really did quite a job this summer. And thank you, Ryan and Eric, for everything you guys did. Good. Okay. Let's move on. So now we're on to the property maintenance, and that's on page 27. And we've got Dylan.
Transfer station on 21.
Say that again.
Transfer station on page 21.
Transfer station. Thank you. Page 21. Dylan, are you there?
I believe can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can't see you. You got your video shut off?
Oh.
We can't see you, Dylan. We can hear you. Okay. There you go. No, that's not Dylan.
I think we lost him. He was there.
Okay.
Give that a
All right.
shot.
Is he back or no? Because I'll
Back.
take his. Dylan, are you there? All right. I'm going to take it over.
I am.
Okay, Dylan, where are you anyways? I can't see you.
Mine says I'm recording and everything, so
Okay, go ahead and take it from the top. We don't need to see you.
okay. So uh, our salaries have all gone up as Gary has explained. We've got the new full-timer we're looking to employ. Part-times remain the same. The new line item in that is the admin assistant, which would be Kathy Parity. She helps out with some of the financial housekeeping, such as the accounts and things like that we have money outgoing or incoming from. She helps organize that sometimes every week. Everything else has already been accounted for. Heating fuel is the number provided by Kelly. Same thing with telephone and electricity. There's been no changes with telephone, electricity, another one by Kelly. Engineer services have increased by 5,000, which was something that we're going to do last year, but we're going to implement this year. There's been no change with tipping fees and transportation of MSW. Insurance has decreased. Household hazardous waste, no change. Training, no change. Building maintenance, no change. Maintenance of equipment such as loader, forklift, scale, and balers has increased by $1,500. Equipment purchases, no change. Gas, oil, and lube, also a number provided by Kelly. Wearing apparel, no change. Supplies, no change. And recycling supplies, no change.
Any questions for him?
Yes, Nate Bernier asked, could we look at adding to the overtime budget instead of hiring an additional person? This would offer a premium rate opportunity to full-time persons benefit, and it would allow more coverage time for people to take their vacation.
Nate, I'm guessing you're talking about the transfer station. Yes, okay. Well, we only have 2 full-time people up there. And in order for us to take, and the part-timers are senior citizens, they don't want to work more than either 16 or 24 hours. So in that particular situation, I don't feel it would be plausible because that would, I got to have manpower up there to run the place. And for us to try to go and double somebody up, you know, working 80 hours to cover a 40-hour shift doesn't make any sense. I mean, we've got Gary McDaniel, who's in his 70s. We've got 3 other employees who are also in that same age bracket. So I don't see that happening. We need to get another person up there. The other reason for getting another person is getting them groomed to take the place if somebody leaves. So we're shorthanded. Overtime budgets work fine for police departments and places that have lots of personnel that cover the shifts, but not when you have a 2-man team. Okay, Sean O'Leary, I mean, everybody can see what Sean had to say about that. All right, any other questions or thoughts on that?
Angela Jurdak asked if the scale was fixed.
Well, the scale is, we're still putting money in, Angela. We're going to talk about that. We're putting another $10,000 in on it this year. I don't believe we've been having a lot of issues with that. Dylan, how's that been going this year?
It's actually been going very well until the last week. It froze up last weekend, and that I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for, Angie, or if you're talking about the actual money we're setting aside for a new one.
Yeah. So, and how are you getting that running? You're still using the torch to thaw it out?
We used a torch, and we also put a salamander heater underneath it to try and get heat from both sides.
Yeah. But Angie, we are working to replacing that. That's a fairly big fix. And I think we're going to be looking at $50,000-$60,000, but we're getting there. And, you know, the guys are doing a good job to keep it working. And, but it will be replaced at some point.
We also had another question from Dave. He asked if their 24-hour person's taking the time slot, or if not, where does that person go? He's actually getting done. He's about to get graduate college, so he's looking to move into a profession that he's looking to due to his education. So we're essentially going to be replacing him in that position with another full-timer.
Okay, if that's it, I want to talk to you about that piece of land that I'm proposing buying. I don't know if anybody has any questions. We've answered a few. You're going to get a chance to vote on that warrant article at our last meeting. The plan is if we can get your approval on it, we want to bring that to the town meeting. And in my opinion, that property holds more value to the taxpayers of Oakland than any of these waterfront properties that we're in the process of selling. It's for the future of Oakland. It's open space, 26 acres of open space within a mile of downtown Oakland. We'd be foolish not to look at this. Just there's so much that we need to offer now, and let alone what the future is going to bring. I can immediately see how we can use it for trail systems for some of our older people that aren't so steady on their feet, cross-country skiing opportunities, the rail to trail. I know I got Harold on here, made a statement the other day that they'd already pulled the rails up there. They haven't. I went up and checked that myself, so you were correct on that, Harold. But they're going to, and that gives us a place for parking for people that use that trail system. So there's a lot of reasons why we should be buying that, and I'll entertain anything for questions on it. So if you have anything that you don't feel comfortable asking tonight, do what others have done. Shoot me an email, and we'll get you answers. And like I said, every answer I give you, I'm going to give to the entire group. But other than that, I would hand it over to Dana, and Dana, you can do your thing.
Okay, thank you, Gary. I hope everybody got their questions answered. And like you said, we can all email you and get some questions in. And our next budget meeting is the 17th, which is next Wednesday, right?
You're right. Can I stop you for just a second there?
Sure.
We've got to elect a chair. Thank you, Kelly, for reminding us. We completely forgot that. We got to elect a chair for the Budget Advisory Committee and a vice chair. And Ryan, can you unmute Jan so she can take care of that?
Hi.
Hi, Jan. I can't believe we forgot that.
We didn't forget it. I was waiting for you to take a breath.
Okay. That doesn't happen. How long have we been working
No.
together now?
I would like to have the floor open for nominations for the chairman for the Budget and Advisory Committee. We'd like to have a show of hands for this, so we won't have to do a roll call.
Can I interrupt for a second? Ryan, pull that. There we go. Perfect.
There we go. Yeah.
Come do it.
Can we first go with the chairman?
Harold.
Just say it.
Harold.
Yeah, I heard Harold. I'm guessing
Harold
that's
Buzzell.
Harold Buzzell.
He's awake now.
He's away. Do I hear any other nominations? We have a Mike Rosignol for chair.
I said Harold Buzzell.
I heard you, but I had a Mike Rosignol just then too.
I make a motion if you need it. I make a motion to take Mike if you want one.
I'm sorry. I think that was Donna.
You want a
speaking.
motion to accept?
Yes.
That was
Yeah, I
Donna.
made a motion to accept Rosenau. I made the motion.
I didn't.
Don't we need?
She
made a motion for Mike Rossignol.
Mike Rosignol is chairman. I believe that's just what I heard. Is everybody
Make
in
your
agreement?
motion.
So
Yes.
could you show a raise of hands?
All in favor.
All in favor? Mike, I would say that you are our chairman for the ensuing year. Now can we have nominations for vice chair?
Harold Buzzell.
Do I hear any others?
Yeah.
I nominate Nate Bernier.
Do we want to have a show of hands for the first one that was nominated was Harold Buzzell? I think I've seen 3. How about for Harold? I'm sorry, for Nate Bernier. Are you seeing what I am, Gary?
Well, I saw one of
It's
the
hard.
council members raise their hands. That doesn't count. Dave
No.
Schroeder, you can't vote on that.
That's what I thought too.
Let's try this again, okay? Because we're getting some confusion. Okay. So let's have a raise of hands for Harold Buzzell. Raise
Please.
of hands for Harold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got 4 for Harold. Nate Bernier. Raise of hands for Nate.
Nate,
1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4. Oh, Jesus, we're gonna flip a coin here. We got 4 and 4.
4 and 4.
We had some that didn't vote, I believe.
I was gonna say, because I only have a total of 8. And we've got more than that.
One more time. Let's do it again.
Did Sean O'Leary vote?
Yeah, I counted him. He was part of 4.
Okay. One more time, and we're gonna start with Harold Buzzell again. All those in favor of Harold Buzzell for vice?
Hold your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
I think there's
5. We got
Five.
I think
5.
you're missing
All right.
Matt's
Nate
vote
Bernier.
for him.
Yeah, Nate
Five.
Bernier. Everybody hold their hands up for Nate Bernier. 1, 2, 3. All right, 3 to 5.
Harold
Harold's got it.
Buzzell, I would say you are our vice chair for the ensuing year. That's it.
So our next meeting's on the 17th.
Can we go?
What's that?
I said, so can we go home?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you all set, Gary?
I'm all set. The next meeting's on the 17th.
Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Dana.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.